Okay, so let's see question 19 here. Question 19.
Yeah.
For what values of m does the equation have exactly one solution? Okay, so when they say one solution, so we have to use the discriminant, where the idea is b squared minus 4ac equal to 0. That is one solution. One solution. Okay, so of course for revisions, if this is greater than 0, that is two solutions. If this is less than 0, then it is no solution. Okay, so let's say I write down, if it's greater than 0, two solutions. If it's less than 0, no solutions. Okay, so for our question here, we have to use b squared minus 4ac equal to 0. So we have 2x squared plus mx plus 1 equal to 0. So we need to know the first number there is a, then the second number is b, and c is equal to 1. So we have a, b, c here. And we put everything into this formula, b squared minus 4ac equal to 0. So we will get, okay, let me write down first, b squared minus 4ac equal to 0. And then m squared minus 4 to 1 equal to 0. So m squared minus 8 equal to 0. M squared equal to 8. M equal to square root plus minus square root of 8. So these are the answers. Okay, so there are two values for this case. So this is 19a. And now 19b. For what values of n does the equation have real solutions? So if they say it have real solution, so we have to use b squared minus 4ac more than or equal to 0. So of course it is the combination of the first case and the second case. So one solution or two solutions combine, then it become more than or equal to 0. Okay, so we have to combine because after all they never mentioned clearly whether it has two different solution or one solution. It just make it general, saying that it have real solutions without specify the real solutions are two different real solution or two equal solution. That if they don't mention, then we just use this. Okay, so that means the keyword for this is have real solutions, and then we use this. Okay, so this is 19b. We have x squared minus 4mx plus 20 equal to 0. Okay, so I write down the ABC first. So the A is 1, the first number here. A is 1, B is minus 4m, C is 20. So we have ABC, and we use b squared minus 4ac more than or equal to 0. So I write down also. Then we substitute more than or equal to 0. Okay, now we need to solve the inequalities and find the interval for m. Okay, so expand this 16m squared minus 80 more than or equal to 0. 16m squared more than or equal to 80. M squared more than or equal to 5. Okay, so when you reach here, what we can do is there are a few methods to continue. One of the way is we factorize it like this, m squared minus 5 more than or equal to 0. And then we use a formula, a squared minus b squared equal to a plus b, a minus b. So we use this formula to factorize it. Okay, so m squared minus square root 5 or sub 5 square. So we change it to a difference of squares, and then we can use the formula m plus sub 5 m minus sub 5 more than or equal to 0. Okay, then we know that this represents minus sub 5, the critical value. This represents sub 5. Okay, so for quadratic inequality, we normally solve it by using a graph. The small value we put here, and the greater one we put there on the right, and we have the shade. We have the shade like this. If you see the final inequality is greater than or equal to 0, we shade above of the horizontal. Above, so which means we shade here. We shade here. Okay. Then after that, we take this region and this region. So this region means m is less than or equal to minus sub 5, and the region on the right here, it means m more than or equal to sub 5. Okay, so these are the two values that are accepted by the questions. Okay, so we have done 19b. Okay, now let's continue. 20. Consider the family of quadratics with rules of the form y equal to x squared plus bx, where b is a non-zero real numbers. Find the x-axis intercepts. Okay, so we write down this equation first. Let's say I do it at the side here. Question 20. Y equal to x squared plus bx. Okay, so they want us to find the x-axis intercepts. So the idea is we want to find x-axis intercept. So we use y equal to 0 to find the x. So we let y equal to 0, x squared plus bx. So we factorize the x plus b. Okay, then we let each factor equal to 0. So we get x equal to 0. We get x plus b equal to 0. Then we get x equal to minus b. So we have two x-intercepts, which are 0 and minus b. Okay, so two x-intercepts here. And after that, we have done, this is A. This is the answer for A. Now B, let's see what they ask. Find the coordinates of the vertex of the parabola. So we have to use complete the square on this equation to find the vertex, the minimum point actually. Okay, so we have to do it in this way. This time is a bit different. This time we have no number. Normally the equation given is with coefficient with numbers. Like for example, this is a number here. Now this is an unknown, it's a constant b. So we have to know how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's see. So first we have to do completing the square. We have to make sure the number in front of x squared is 1. So it's already 1 here because we don't have anything there. It's 1. And then after that you can take the b and divide by 2. So we put like this. We write back the first term, x squared. Then the second term, bx. Then the third term, right, we put b over 2 square minus b over 2 square. Okay, so we create two extra terms there. And now we need to factorize the first three terms. Factorize. It is going to be a perfect square. So to factorize this, let's say before I factorize, I just expand it first, b squared over 4, b squared over 4. Okay, now for the first three term again, to factorize, so either you factorize straight away or you just think like this. Okay, so x times x is x squared. Then you have to think of two numbers, must be same numbers. Two numbers multiply to get b squared over 4, and two of that numbers, when you add them up, you must get b. So I'm going to take b over 2 and b over 2. Okay, b over 2 and b over 2, where I know when I multiply them, so I have to multiply in this way, b over 2x, b over 2x. When I add them out, I get bx. Okay, so when I multiply them, I get b squared over 4. So this is the suitable way to factorize it. Okay, so multiply, get b squared over 4, which is this one. Cross and get the product and add up the product, you get bx, which must be this one. So if that works, that means our factorization, our factors is going to be this and this. So we write them down, x plus b over 2 squared. Okay, so that means the first three terms has been factorized to two same factors, and then the last term here we just write back minus b squared over 4. Okay, so that is the end of complete the square. So we have done complete the square here when we reach here, and we need to know how to get the x and the y. Okay, so to get the x, we take the thing from the bracket. We take x plus b over 2 equal to 0. Then we get the x. So this is the x. This is the x coordinate of the vertex. And then to get the y, we take everything at the back of the bracket here. So this is going to be y straight away. So y is equal to minus b squared over 4. So this is the turning point. Minus b over 2 minus b squared over 4. Okay, turning point, settle. And that is b. Now we look at c. C part 1. Find the coordinates of the point of intersection of the graph of y equal to x squared plus bx with the line y equal to x in terms of b. So we have to find the point of intersection. So it's basically something like this. Let's say I just draw out the graph. Our question never want us to draw out the graph, so I draw it here just for your reference only. So we have y equal to x squared plus bx. So I know the graph is going to be, as I know the x-intercept here, 0 and minus b. So I know the graph is something like 0 and minus b, something like this. Okay, so the graph is going to be like this, y, x. Okay, then at the same time we have also y equal to x. Y equal to x is another straight line. So the straight line is going to be like oops, my graph is too straight already. Okay, so I have to modify it a bit, make it look more like a curve. Yeah, like this. Okay, now my straight line is going to be like this. This is y equal to x. Okay, so we want to find the intersection point between the two graphs here, the red color graph, which is the parabola, and then the blue color graph, which is the straight line. So we should expect a few intersections here. Maybe there are one or two. Okay, it depends, because the graph can be like this also. This is one possibility. The second possibility is the graph can be like this also. Let's say this is origin, right? So the graph can be like this also. In this case, we have only one intersection. So if this is the case, I don't think this is possible. Okay, let me modify this. Modify this graph. Okay, so and then y equal to x is going to be like this. They both pass through origin. Okay, so of course our graph here is just for reference. At the end of the day, we need to solve it by using simultaneous equation. Okay, so let's see. So we do simultaneous equation with this. y equal to x and y equal to x squared plus bx. Okay, and then I call this equation 1 and this is equation 2. So we just solve it. Okay, we solve it in, let's say I use 2 equal to 1. Then I have x squared plus bx equal to x. Then I have x squared plus bx minus x equal to 0. Now to solve this, right, we factorize x. Factorize x, x, then x plus b minus 1 equal to 0. And after that we get x equal to 0, x equal to, okay, let's say I take the whole bracket, x plus b minus 1 equal to 0, x equal to 1 minus b. Okay, so we have two x values. So if we have two x values, so that means our graph is going to be like 1 minus b. So let's say your b is okay, depends on what value is your b lah. Let's say your b is 1/2. Okay, let's say your b is 1/2, then your graph is going to be like this. If your b is 1/2, then your graph is going to be like one intersection point, two intersection point. Okay, so your graph is going to be like this way if there is only where we have only one intersection point. So this is possible actually. This is possible if your b is equal to, let's say, 1. If your b is equal to 1, then you have two same x values. In that case, one intersection point. So if your b is, let's say 2, if your b is 2, then you have 0 and minus 1 as your intersection. In that case, the graph is going to be like this. Okay, so the intersection point is affected by the values of b actually. Okay, now in general, we just have 0 and 1 minus b, and we continue. We have to find the y. So I use equation 1. So they mentioned that y is equal to x. So if x is 0, then y is also 0. So the first intersection point is hence 0, 0. The second intersection point, I use equation 1 again, where the x and the y are equal. So if the x is 1 minus b, y is going to be 1 minus b as well. Then 1 minus b is the intersection points. Okay, so we get the answer. These two are the answers. Then, okay, let's continue. This is C part 1 and part 2. For what values of B is there one point of intersection? One point of intersection. So we discussed this just now. If the value of B is 1, so imagine if it's 1, right? So 1 minus 1 is 0, so 0, this is also 0, end up with one intersection point, which is this case. So this case is where B is equal to 1. Okay, so let me write down also for this case. This case is where B is less than 1. Okay, B less than 1 will be this case, and if B is greater than 1, then will be this case. Will be the third case here. Okay, so B equal to 1, B less than 1, B greater than 1. Okay, now we answer C part 2. C part 2. So what they ask is, for what values of B is there one point of intersection? So the B is 1. This case. Okay, so we just write it down. B equal to 1. And now we look at part 3. For what values of B are there 2 points of intersections? Okay, so it belongs to these two scenarios actually. B less than 1 and B greater than 1. There are 2 intersection points. Okay, so we just write down when B less than 1 or B more than 1. Okay, so we have done for question 20. Okay, so now let's look at the multiple choice. We have question 1. The linear factors of 12x squared plus 7x minus 12 are. Okay, so we have 5 choices here. So how to do it is we need to factorize it in this way. So let's say I'm considering 4x times 3x to be 12x squared. Okay, then at the same time I have to think of 2 numbers that multiply to get negative 12. And at the meantime, when you cross multiply with these 2 and add up the products, you have to get positive 7x. Okay, so in order to get this, so let's say, okay, I consider the choice here. 4, 16 minus 9. 16 minus 9. Okay, so I'm going to use positive 4 and minus 3. Okay, so because I am able to imagine that when I use 4x times 4, I get 16x. When I use 3x times minus 3, I get negative 9x. So when I add up these two, minus 9 plus 16 is positive 7x. Okay, so it's positive 7x. So at the end, we get the middle one. And now the factorization works in this way. So our factors are 4x minus 3 and 3x plus 4. So the answer is A. It's A. Yeah? So question 1, A. Now let's see question 2. Question 2, the solutions of the equation x squared minus 5x minus 14 equal to 0 are. Okay, so now we have to think of factorization again. x times x is x squared. Okay, then we think of two numbers that multiply to get negative 14. And at the meantime, when you add them up, you have to get minus 5. So I'm thinking of minus 7 and 2. So you see, when I cross multiply, I get minus 7x. X times 2, I get 2x. When I add them up, I get negative 5x, which is negative 5x is the term in the middle. Okay, so that means it works in this way, the factorization. So x minus 2 is the first factor. The second factor is x plus 2. Okay, then we put it in this way. X minus 7 x plus 2 equal to 0. And we let each factor equal to 0 to find the roots. So we let x minus 7 equal to 0, we get x equal to 7. We let x plus 2 equal to 0, we get x equal to minus 2. Okay, so we get 7 and minus 2 as the solutions or the roots. So hence the answer is C. Okay, so of course there is a way to double check also. You can just substitute minus 2 over here and here, and you count, make sure you get 0. So for example, I put minus 2 here. Minus 2 square, I get 4. I put minus 2 here. Minus 5 times minus 2, I get 10. Just now 4 plus 10, 14. 14 minus 14, I get 0. So that means this is correct. You can check answer in that way, by substituting back the x values that you obtain back to the equation and count. If you get 0, that means that is the correct solution. So now question 3. For y equal to 8 plus 2x minus x squared, the maximum value of y is... Okay, so you want to find maximum value, right? So we have to do completing the square. Okay, so I do it on the side here. Question 3. Y equal to 8 plus 2x minus x squared. So to do completing the square, I'm going to rearrange so that minus x squared, I keep it in front.
Okay.
Like this. And then we have to make sure there is no number, even negative is considered a number also. We should make until there is no number in front of x squared. So we factorize it if there is any number. So I factorize negative, then the rest changes their sign in this way, and then I can start doing completing the square in this way. I write back the first term, the second term, and the third term I have to put far away. In between I have to put b over 2. This is my b is minus 2. So b over 2 square, b over 2 square. Okay, then for the first 3 terms here, so we need to factorize them to be 2 same factors. Of course, if you want to simplify it first, it can be like this, where I know minus 2 over 2 is minus 1. Minus 1 square become positive 1. So this is going to be positive 1. This is going to be negative 1. Okay, so then we factorize these 3. They must be the same factor after all. So x times x is x squared. Minus 1 times minus 1 is positive 1. When you cross multiply, negative x, negative 2x. So we can factorize it in that way. And now we write down minus x minus 1 square. Okay, that is how we factorize the first 3 terms here. And for the last 2 terms, we just need to press calculator. Minus 1 minus 8 become minus 9. Okay, so minus 9. and this minus is going to be given back to both terms over there. So for the first term, it will be negative, then bracket square. The second term will be positive 9 then. So we get something like this at the end. This is after completing the square, we get this. And now what to do is we have to look for the maximum value of y. So that means it is going to be, you want to find the x, you let this equal to 0. And you want to find the y, you just take everything here, then this is the y equal to 9. And this is the maximum value. This is the maximum value. The x coordinates, you get it from here. You let x minus 1 equal to 0, then you get x equal to 1. But they are not looking for x value, they are looking for the y value. So we take this, y equal to 9. Okay, and at the end, the answer is C. It's 9. Okay, that is question 3. Then question 4. If the graph of y equal to 2x squared minus kx plus 3 touches the x-axis, then the possible values of k are... Okay, so I draw out this graph to let you imagine. Let's say question 4. It's going to be like this. Your graph y equal to 2x squared minus kx plus 3 touches the x-axis. The x-axis is here. So touches means like there is only one intersecting point. Touch, then go away. So we call it touch and go. Touches the x-axis. So we need to know that when this is the scenario, it means there are one solution. There is only one solution. Okay, so then we have to think of one solution, right? So one solution, we have to think of b squared minus 4ac equal to 0. Okay, so the y-axis itself is y equal to 0. Sorry, the x-axis here, the equation to represent it is y equal to 0. So we can basically do simultaneous equation between these two. Okay, so y equal to 0, y equal to 2x squared minus kx plus 3. 1, 2, okay, so 2 equal to 1, then we get 2x squared minus kx plus 3 equal to 0. Then we use the b squared minus 4ac equal to 0. Of course, we have to know that our a is 2, our b is minus k, and our c is 3. So you will realize when I take a, b, c, I don't take the x. Okay, I just take the number in front of x. And now I apply the formula. B squared minus 4ac equal to 0. So k squared minus 24 equal to 0. K squared equal to 24. K equal to plus minus square roots of 24. And let's say I simplify this to 4 times 6. The reason that I do so is because I can square root the 4 to be 2. And the 6 I cannot square root, remain this as cert. Then I have two answers, which is 2 cert 6 or negative 2 cert 6. So I have two answers. Okay, so now when I look at the choices that I have, question 4, these are the two answers. Okay, so the answer is E. Okay, so this is the answer. And let's see. The solution of the equation x squared minus 56 equal to xr. Okay, so question 5, let's say I do it, question 5 I do it here. X squared minus 56 equal to x. Okay, so we are looking for the solution. We put all the terms on the left, then we factorize it. X, okay, so let's say before I factorize, I just work out the working. So it's like this, x times x is going to be x squared. And I think of two numbers when I multiply, I get minus 56. When I add them up, I get minus x or minus 1. Okay, so the two numbers that I mean is going to be negative 8 and 7. Negative 8 times 7, I get negative 56. When I cross multiply, I get minus 8x, 7x. When I add them up, I get negative x. Okay, so that means factorization worked well over here. Then I take this as the factor. This is the second factor. Okay, then I put x minus 8, x plus 7 equal to 0, x minus 8 equal to 0, x plus 7 equal to 0. So x equal to 8, x equal to negative 7. So these two are the solutions. And now we look at the choices. So we have 8 and minus 7. So which is B? 8 and minus 7. Okay, then we look at number 6 then. The value of the discriminant of this is, okay, so we need to know discriminant is actually b squared minus 4ac. So we do it here, question 6. X squared plus 3x minus 10. So A is 1, B is 3, C is minus 10. So they want us to find discriminant. Discriminant means b squared minus 4ac. So we just need to substitute and count this out. 3 squared minus 4ac. Okay, then we count this. 3 squared is 9 plus 40. So we get 49. So the discriminant is 49 then. So the answer is C. Okay, then we look at number 7. The coordinates of the turning point of the graph with equation, this one. Okay, so you want to find the turning point, right? So we have to do completing the square. Completing the square for question 7. So let's do it at the side here. Question 7. Okay, question 7. Y equal to 3x squared plus 6x minus 1. Okay, so now we do completing the square here. So again, we have to make sure there is no number in front of x squared. So if there is any number, we have 3 here, then we factorize 3. Factorize 3, so then we get x squared plus, okay, 6x divided by 3 is 2x. Then we have minus 1. Minus 1 divided by 3 is minus 1 over 3. Okay, I factorized 3 already. Now I have to put 3. Write back the x squared, the 2x. The minus 1 over 3 I write far behind, leaving 2 blank in between for us to fill out the b over 2 square. So the b is positive 2. Positive 2 over 2 square. Positive 2 over 2 square again. And now we have the first 3 terms. So we have to factorize them. Factorize. So it's going to be the perfect square. Okay, so let's say before I factorize, I just simplified it to 2 over 2 is 1. 1 square is still 1. Okay, So now I'm going to factorize these 3. So either you factorize straight away if you can see it, or else you just do like this. X times x is x squared. Then 1 times 1 is 1, cross multiply, we get 1x and 1x, then end up and get 2x. Okay, so we get 2x here, which is the term in the middle. So that means our factors are x plus 1. The second factor is also x plus 1. Okay, so we managed to factorize it. So we get 3 x plus 1 and x plus 1. That's x plus 1 squared. And for the last two terms here, we just minus them. Minus 1 over 3 is minus 4 over 3. Okay, then at the end we expand 3 with this and 3 with this. Then we get y equal to 3 x plus 1 squared minus 4. Okay, so we get the factorization, I mean the completing the square. Okay, completing the square. So we have done, and we are looking for a turning point. Okay, so to get the x, we let the bracket equal to 0. Equal to 0.
Okay.
And this is the y. Okay, now let's see. We take the bracket, x plus 1 equal to 0. And then x equal to minus 1. We get the x. And then we just take everything at the back there as y. Y is minus 4. So we get x and y. And that is the coordinate. Minus 1, minus 4 as the coordinate of the vertex or turning point or maximum point. I mean, this is minimum point for this case. Okay, so minus 1, minus 4. The answer is hence E. So that is the answer for question 7. Now let's see question 8 then. The quadratic 5x squared minus 10x minus 2 in turning point form. Turning point form means after you finish completing the square. Okay, by completing the square is, okay, so you have 5 choices. So we have to do completing the square. So let's say I do it down here. Question 8. 5x squared minus 10x minus 2. Okay, so we have to do completing the square. We have to make sure there is no number in front of x squared. So we have 5 there. We have to factorize 5. So factorize 5. That means 5x squared divided by 5, you get x squared. 10x divided by 5, you get minus 2x. Minus 2 divided by 5, you get minus 2 over 5. Okay, then we get 5. Okay, now we write back the first term, the second term. The third term, right, we put far away. So in between, we put b over 2 square and minus b over 2 square. So our b is this one, minus 2. This is our b. So minus 2 over 2, minus 2 over 2. We put b over 2. Okay, so then the first 3 terms, we need to factorize it. It is going to be perfect square. So 5 x squared minus 2x. Let's say I simplified it first. Minus 2 over 2 is minus 1. Minus 1 square is positive 1. Okay. Now for the first 3 terms again, I can factorize it. So, of course, when you factorize, you should expect x times x to be x squared. And 2 numbers multiply to get positive 1, and at the same time, when you add them up, you get minus 2. So that's going to be minus 1 and minus 1. As you can see, when I cross multiply, I get minus x. I add them up, I get minus 2x. Okay, so factorization works well, and we get x minus 1 squared. And then for the last two terms, if I'm doing, I just check with calculator, minus 1 minus 2 over 5, then we get minus 7 over 5. And I times 5 with this and that. So I get 5x minus 1 squared minus 7. Okay, so that is completing the square. So once we get that, then we check with the choices here.
Okay.
Okay, and this is the answer then. E is the answer. Okay, so the answer is hence E. Okay, now question 9. The values of m that will give the equations two solutions are, okay, so two solutions means discriminant again. Okay, so question 9, two solutions. Okay, we have to remember the formula means the discriminant b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. So I have to memorize a bit this b squared minus 4ac when we use it. When they say two solution or one solution or no solution, then we use this. Okay, we use it when they mention about two solution, one solution, or no solution. Then we use. Okay, now let's look at the equation. Mx squared plus 6x minus 3 equal to 0. Okay, so our a is equal to m, b is equal to 6, c is equal to minus 3. Okay, so we have a, b, c here. And now we use b squared minus 4ac more than 0. So our b is 6 squared minus 4m c more than 0, 36 plus 12m more than 0, 12m more than negative 36, m more than negative 36 over 12 with dy more than minus 3. So we get this, m greater than minus 3, so D is the answer. Okay, then question 10. Question 10. 6x squared minus 8xy minus 8y squared is equal to, okay, we have to factorize. Okay, so let's see how we factorize this. So this is where we have x and y in the equations. So if I'm doing, I will think of 3x times 2x is 6x squared. And then I put like this. And now I think of two numbers that multiply to get minus 8y squared. Okay, so I have many scenarios. For example, 2y minus 4y, minus 2y 4y, minus 4y 2y, and so on. Okay, so I have many ways to multiply and get minus 8y squared. So at the meantime, when you cross multiply, you have to get minus 8xy. Minus 8xy. Okay, so let's imagine first. If I take here 2 and minus 4. 2 and minus 4. Yeah. Okay. If I take here 2y and minus 4y, now what happened is we need to cross, right? So 2x times 2y, we get 4xy. 4xy. And then 3x times minus 4y, we get negative 12xy. Negative 12xy. And you add them up. So you see 4 minus 12, you get minus 8. So we get the term in the middle. And after that, we take this and we take this as our factor. So we write it down in this way: 3x plus 2y. Second row, 2x minus 4y. So these are the two factors. And let's see, 3x plus 2y, 2x minus 4y. Okay, so the answer is A. And now question 11. The turning point of a quadratic with rule has coordinate. Okay, so we have this. So we have to do completing the square. So question 11, y equal to x squared minus ax. So completing the square, y equal to x squared minus ax plus, okay, now we have to put the b over 2. So our b is this. This is our b.
Okay.
Which is negative a. Okay, so negative a over 2 square minus negative a over 2 square. Okay, so then I simplified it. X squared minus ax plus a squared over 4 minus a squared over 4. Okay, then x times x is x squared minus a over 2 times minus a over 2 is positive a squared over 4, cross multiply, and minus a over 2x minus a over 2x will get minus ax. So which is the same with the term in the middle. So our factorizations will be x minus a over 2 and x minus a over 2. That are the two factors. So
Okay.
y equal to x minus a over 2 square, and the last term minus a squared over 4 we write back. So once you get this, now to get the turning point for the x, we let the bracket equal to 0. Then we have x minus a over 2 equal to 0, x equal to a over 2. We let this equal to y is minus a squared over 4. So we have x and y now, which is a over 2 minus a squared over 4. And that is the turning point. And let's see our turning point. This one, B. So the answer is B. Okay, so finish 11 questions. Okay, now let's look at the next page. Okay, now let's look at question 12. Question 12. Okay, so what they said, the solution of the inequality x squared greater than b squared, where b less than 0 is, okay, so let's see how we solve the quadratic inequality. So question 12, x squared more than b squared. So normally when we solve quadratic inequality, we change it to general form. Okay, I write down the step again. You change step 1, you change it to ax squared plus bx plus c more than 0 or less than 0, or more than or equal to 0, or less than or equal to 0. So this is step 1. Step 2 is factorize to find x. And then step 3, we sketch the graph. So if the graph is going to be like this, and then of course you found your x here. So the greater x you put on the right, the smaller one you put on the left. So let's say the two x values are p and q. This is the x-axis. So I call this case 1, case 2, this one case 3, this one case 4. So if case 1, so after you get this, you think about it in this way, more than 0, right? So more than 0 means above the x-axis, which means here and there. And when you shade like this. Okay, then for case 1, the solution is going to be x less than p or x more than q. So this is for case 1. For case 3 first. Case 3, because case 3 is kind of similar. It's just one equal there compared to this. So for case 3, the solution will look similar but with equal now. So with equal, like this. For case 2, this is case 3, this one case 3. For case 2, as you can see, case 2 is less than 0. Less than 0 means we take below of the x-axis. This is less than 0. And when you write the answer, we write like in between p and q, like this. And for case 4, when we write the answer for this inequality less than or equal to 0, we write the answer in this way but with equal now.
Okay.
Like this. So there are 4 ways to represent the final answer. Okay, now let's see how we apply it in this question. So these are the steps. I put all this in a box. So these are the steps. Okay, now let's see how we solve it. So I'm going to bring b squared to the left so that I can use the formula x plus b, x minus b, to factorize the difference of square. And now I get 2x value. The first x value represented by the first factor is minus b. This is b. And I sketch the graph.
Okay.
Then so this one they say b is less than 0. So imagine it's a negative value. So this is a negative value. Then end up with this is a positive value because b is negative with another negative, so it ends up with positive. So minus b, which is a positive value, this is greater. B, which is a negative value, that is smaller. So we put it in this way. And after that, they say more than 0. More than 0, case 1. Case 1, put your answer in this way. Okay, so you take here and there. So likewise, for our case here, we take here and here. Then b less than 0. Okay, it's not mistake. Okay, x less than b or x greater than minus b.
Yeah.
We follow this format. Okay, so that's why the answer is like this. Okay, now let's see. X less than b, x greater than negative b. So the answer is E. Okay, now question 13. The quadratic equation where a and b are positive constants has one solution when one solution. So one solution, we have to use discriminant. Okay, so I put it here, question 13. One solution. Okay, so the formula for one solution is b squared minus 4ac equal to 0. One solution. Okay, so I write back the quadratic. X squared minus 2ax plus b equal to 0. So let's say I use capital letter, since small letter a and b has been used by them. So my a is 1, my b is minus 2a, my c is b. So I have to use b squared minus 4ac equal to 0 because of one solution. So I substitute. My b is minus 2a, my a is 1, my c is b. So square this and get 4a squared minus 4b. Okay, so I get this. Then we have 4a squared equal to 4b, a squared equal to b, a equal to plus minus square root b. That means a equal to square root of cert b, a equal to minus cert b. Okay, so something like this. And when I look at the answer that we have, so I know that it is going to be D. Yeah, so the answer is D.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this one settle. Okay. Now, question 1. The diagram shows a masonry arch bridge of span 50 meter. The shape of the curve ABC is a parabola. The line AC is the water level, and B is the highest point of the bridge. Okay, so taking A as the origin and the maximum height of the arch above the water level as 4.5. Write down a formula for the curve of the arch where y is the height of the arch above AC and x is the horizontal distance from A. Okay, so that means we have to write down the quadratics. Question 1a. So imagine that is a graph like this actually. So where this is the origin, 0. This is point A. Point A. And then point B. This point B is actually... Okay, this point B is... maximum height is 4.5. And then this is in the middle. 25, 4.5 then. 25, 4.5. And then this point C. Point C is going to be 50, 0. Okay. So with 3 of these points, we need to find out the equation. The equation of the quadratics. Okay. So if we have the x-intercept, which are point A and point C, so the x-intercept are 0 and 50, so we can just put like this: y equal to something x minus 50. So we can put in this factorized form. This x represents 0. This x minus 50, when you find the x, you will get 50. So the a we need to find out. We can use this point to find out. Okay, so we use point B, 25, 4.5, to find out the values of a. So y is 4.5, a unknown, 25 minus 50. Okay, then we just count the values of a. So I just do right hand side first. minus 625 4.5. Okay, then I get A equal to 4.5 divided by answer. I get minus 0.0072. Okay, so I get y equal to minus 0.0072 x minus 50. Okay, so that's what I get. Okay, now this is the answer for A. Then we look at B. Calculate a table of values and accurately plot the graph of the curve. Okay, so let's calculate a table of values in this way. So we put a table of 2 rows. So the first row we put x, second row we put y. So 0, as you can see, our graph is 0 to 50. So we can just put the multiples of 10, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Okay. Then after that, I have to substitute everything into this equation. So I will just use calculator. I substitute 0 inside. I get 0. I substitute. Oops. Okay, now I substitute 10 inside. I get 2.88. Substitute 20. I get 4.32. Then I substitute 30. I get 4.32. Then I substitute 40. Then I get 2.88. Then I substitute 50. I get 0. Okay, now we have to plot the graph. So when they said plot the graph, that means we have to use graph paper to do this.
Okay.
Now let's say this is my graph paper.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to do it there, and this is my y-axis, the x-axis. Okay, so 0. Let's see first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Okay, now for the y-axis, I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we start with the first point, 0, 0. So it's going to be here, and followed by 10, 2.88, and 2.88 around here. 2.88. Okay, then 24.32 around here. The other point is 25, 25, 4.5, which is the maximum. 25, 4.5, 4.5. Okay, so somewhere here. And then after that, 30, 4.32 here. And then 40, 2.88. Then we draw the graph. Okay, so this is the graph. And now let's look at C then. Okay, question C. At what horizontal distance from A is the height of the arch above the water level equal to 3 meter? Equal to 3 meter. So that means they are trying to ask something like this. They are trying to ask when y equal to 3, x is what? So this is what they are asking for question C. Okay, so C, y equal to 3, equation 1, and the other equation is this equation, of course. So I'm going to substitute inside. Equation 2. So I do 1 equal to 2, then I get 3 equal to this. Okay, then we need to solve and find the x value. So let's say I just expand first, negative 0.0072 x squared plus 0.36 x, then I shift everything to the left. Okay, then I get this. Now let's say I divide everything by 0.0072. Okay, divide by 0.0072 so that the equation looks better. I get 50x, and then 3 divided by 0.0072, I get 1250 over 3. Okay, now I times 3. I times 3, I get 3x squared minus 150x plus 1250 equal to 0. Okay. So now I want to factorize this. Let's see whether factorization works or not. If it doesn't work, then we can use Quadratics Formula. Okay, so factorization doesn't work here, so I use Quadratics Formula. A equal to 3, B equal to minus 150, C equal to 1250. Okay, now check my calculator first. Okay, now we use x equal to minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac square root over 2a minus negative 150 plus minus negative 150 square minus 4ac square root over 2, 3. Okay, then 150 plus minus square root 6. Okay, so I have to work out everything in the square root. $7,500. So we have 2x value. 39.43 or 10.57. Okay, so we just need to double check by using calculator. Yeah, okay, so these two are the correct values. Okay, now let's look at the next part. Question D. What is the height of the arc at a horizontal distance from A of 12 meter? That means you have to find x is 12 meter, find y. Okay, so I'm going to use the equation here straight away. So I substitute 12 here. Okay, so equation D, y equal to minus 0.0072 times 12, and then 12 minus 50. Okay, then I can check with calculator. So I get 3.28. Okay, now part E. A floating platform 20 meter wide is tall under the bridge.
Okay.
Something like this. What is the greatest height of the deck above water level if the platform is to be towed under the bridge with at least 30 cm horizontal clearance on either side? Okay, 20 meter, 30 cm horizontal clearance. Okay, so that means something like this. Part E. This is your graph, your bridge, and then your horizontal platform is 20 meter.
Okay.
And then here they say must leave 30 cm. 30 cm, at least 30 cm. 30 cm in meter is 0.3 meter on both sides, at least. And we have to find the greatest height. So greatest height means the y. So the y, we need to find this. Okay, now first we have to know that if this is 0.3 meter, then the platform is at this height. If you raise a bit more, then the horizontal distance will be smaller than 0.3, which is not acceptable. Okay, so to have maximum height, here has to take 0.3 meter and 0.3 meter exactly to have maximum height. So here have to be 0.3 and 0.3. So that means now we have a situation like this, and then here is going to be 0.3 plus 20 plus 0.3, which is 20.6. So here is going to be 20.6, and we are looking for the y here. the y. Okay, so 20.6 is the maximum, and then we want to look for the y if that is 20.6. Okay, so if you are using the graph paper, of course I can't use it because my graph paper is not really the exact graph paper. If you are using graph paper, you just find out where is 20.6. So 20.6, like around, okay, so 20.6, this is around 30. 20.6 is around here. 20.6 is around here, and then you can read the y, the height. Okay, so you find out 20.6, and then you read the height. Okay, so that is basically how it works. We need a graph paper to help. Okay, so if let's say for our case here we don't have, okay, so we can only roughly estimate because I'm not really using the graph paper. So 20.6 is around here. Okay, 20.6. Then I'm going to measure the height is 3 point something basically. So this one,
Okay.
3 point something. Okay, so 3 point something. Okay, 3 point something. As you can see, the y is around 3.5. Yeah, so that is the way lah. Okay, so where I have to say that the y is around 3.5, 3.5, okay, around 3.5.
Okay.
Around 3.5 meter. But I have to say that you have to use graph. You have to use graph to find exact values. Here, not possible because my graph is just a rough plotting, not really exact one. So around 3.5.